These people think you're antisocial or awkward. No, you just don't give your energy to haters. You see, these people think that you're antisocial, that you're awkward, that you're standoffish simply because you don't talk to them. You see, some people, especially those who are envious and jealous and just haters in nature, they are quick to call people antisocial and awkward when they don't talk to them. You see, there are certain people who have the gift of wisdom, the gift of discernment, who understand when the vibe is off and they withhold their energy. You might happen to be that kind of person. You might be the person that people always say, why are you so quiet? What's wrong with you? Why are you acting weird? It's not that you're socially awkward or antisocial. It's just that you don't feel comfortable in rooms with haters and toxic people. You see, there are some people who could sit in amongst a room full of wolves and people who are toxic and envious towards other people and be perfectly fine. It's because they resonate with that kind of energy. But you pick up on the vibe in a room before people start speaking and you withhold your energy. So it's not that you're socially awkward or you're antisocial. You just don't entertain haters. You don't entertain fakery. You don't partake in these small talk conversations with people who actually don't like you. You're not antisocial or socially awkward. You just withhold your energy from jealous, envious, toxic people. And it can be very annoying to deal with people who assume that you're antisocial or you're awkward or you're standoffish simply because you don't want to converse with the hater in the room. Simply because you don't want to converse with the two-faced person in the room. Simply because you don't want to converse with the gossip in the room, people assume that you're antisocial or awkward. See, what they don't realize is that when you're in an environment with people you actually vibe with, you are very talkative. You are very social. You like to have, an upbeat personality. You actually have a nice personality. But you do not give your energy, your time, or your attention to haters. So these people think you're antisocial or awkward. No, you just don't entertain haters. You don't give your energy to haters and toxic people. And you see, if you're a woman, if you're a person who has wisdom, who has discernment, who values her time, values her, her energy, values her spirit, you cannot sit in a room full of wolves and open yourself up and be vulnerable with them. But see, people who assume you're antisocial or awkward, but don't realize you just don't give your time and energy to haters, they want to make you feel like there's something wrong with you because you're not willing to open up and be vulnerable with people who want to harm you in some way. These people say you're antisocial or awkward. No, you just don't give your time and energy to haters. You can recognize when somebody is jealous, when someone is envious, when someone is all out toxic and you withhold your energy. That doesn't mean that you still aren't kind, that you still aren't cordial, that you still aren't being somewhat personable in the room. It's just that you're not divulging all of your information and your private details to certain people because you picked up on the fact that they're a hater. You see, people who leave themselves wide open to haters, to jealousy, to envy, to negative people, they find themselves caught up in all kinds of foolishness that their intuition, that their spirit was actually trying to protect them from, but they were too busy trying to make other people feel comfortable. See, because you're not antisocial, you're not socially awkward, you just don't entertain haters, you recognize and you know when people are being toxic, jealous, and envious, and you withhold your energy, and you don't care who feels uncomfortable. You see, the average person cares about other people's comfort while you care about your comfort. You care about whether or not you're going to be the one in the room being talked about. You care about whether or not you're going to be somebody's entertainment. These people think you're antisocial or awkward. No, you just don't give your time and your energy to haters. You don't entertain haters. You don't entertain jealous people. You don't entertain people who you know don't like you or really don't mess with you like that. See, you are the queen at reading the vibe in the room. And see, people who want to be able to get under your skin, people who want to be able to be nosy and intrude into your life so they can mock you later, they're depending on you to be vulnerable enough to give them so much details about yourself, to just let them pick you apart. But see, you're not doing that. See, these people assume you're antisocial and awkward, but you just don't give your time and your energy to haters. You picked up on the pattern of the people in the room before they even started speaking. You picked up on the energy in the room before anyone even spoke to you. And sometimes you can tell what you're dealing with by the fact that no one speaks to you. You see, some people try to make you feel awkward, make you feel like you're weird because you go into rooms with people and don't say much because they're not saying much to you. Or you try to make your presence known and you get a weird vibe or a weird energy, like you're being a intrusion or like you're somehow infringing on somebody's, personal space. So you back up. See, you're not the kind of person who forces yourself on people, so they assume that you're antisocial or socially awkward. No, you just don't entertain haters. You might speak to someone once, speak to someone twice, but if the vibe is off and they don't return that greeting, then you back off. You don't need to be validated by other people. You don't need to be accepted by other people. You just back off. And because of it, some people call you antisocial or socially awkward. But no, you just don't give your time and energy to haters. You don't give your time and energy to toxic people. And you see, you have some people, especially other women, when they are so needy to be needed or to be accepted by other groups of women, they will sit around women who they know are haters, they know are jealous, they know are toxic, and don't necessarily like other women simply because they want to be accepted. But you don't care about being accepted by a hater. You don't care about being accepted by toxic, negative, and or jealous, envious people. You are perfectly fine standing by yourself, and some people don't understand that. So they call you socially awkward, they call you antisocial, but it's simply because you do not entertain haters, you do not entertain foolishness, and you do not entertain secret enemies. You don't entertain people who give off the vibe that they don't like you. Unless people show you that they want you around, you're not forcing yourself on anyone. You're not desperate for anybody's time and or attention. These people say you're socially awkward. They say you're antisocial, but no, you just don't entertain haters and you're not desperate for anybody's attention or relationship. See, you're the kind of woman that if you have friends, that's wonderful. But if you don't, that's also wonderful because you're confident enough to stand on your own. It's not that you feel like nobody can be your friend or that, you don't trust anybody. It's that you're selective. And people who call you antisocial and socially awkward, they're trying to make everything about you. Normally what those kind of people lack is intuition and wisdom. They don't know how to read a room, and that's the reason why many of them have been burned in different relationships and friendships. You see, these people say you're antisocial and socially awkward, but you just don't entertain haters. You don't entertain people who give off bad vibes. You don't entertain people who talk behind everybody's back and act like they want to be a friend to you. You don't deal with people like that. And if that means you only make 1 or 2 friends in your lifetime, you're perfectly fine with that. If that means that some social events you have to sit out, you're perfectly fine with that because you'd rather be authentic to yourself than to sit around being fake with other people. So these people say you're antisocial and socially awkward. No, you just don't entertain haters and toxic people. You don't sit around people who don't like you or who are jealous and envious of you. And see, I want to backtrack on that validation piece because normally the people who are called standoffish or you got weird energy or, it's something about her I don't like. You'll normally hear those kind of things from haters, from jealous, envious people because they want you vulnerable. They want you vulnerable enough where you overlook the fact that they don't really like you, where you overlook the fact that they've been saying things and doing things that really don't line up with someone who seems friendly. They don't really seem like the kind of people that really want you around or want to be in your company, not for genuine purposes anyway. When you pick up on a bad vibe, and I'm not saying that everything is vibes only, But let's be real. For many of us, especially for women, that jealousy, that envy, that overall extreme cattiness and negativity towards other women, it shows itself very early. And see, when you don't need to be validated by other people, you see that earlier on and you excuse yourself. You still speak and say hello and, do those kind of things, but you do not want to be in the company of vultures. So if that makes you antisocial, you're perfectly fine with that. These people say you're antisocial, you're awkward, but no, you just don't entertain haters and toxic people. You don't entertain people who only want to have a relationship with you based on them being able to be nosy, them being able to tear you down in some way, them being able to make you the butt of their jokes, them making you feel like you don't belong while still wanting you around. And you see, people who are often called antisocial or socially awkward, not saying that some people are not genuinely socially awkward or antisocial. Yes, you have some people who are genuinely that way. They could be shy, they could have lack of confidence. It could be very much some of those things. But see, typically the people they call antisocial and socially awkward, it's those people who are highly aware of other people's patterns and their toxicity. It's those people who are highly aware of the fact when other people don't like them or don't like others. How many times have you been in an environment where somebody just gossiped to you about someone else, and then that person walks into their room and they're like, "Hey girl, how you doing?" Da-da-da. A person who they deem as socially awkward or antisocial, if you have enough of those interactions with certain types of people, you will be looked at as antisocial or socially awkward. And it's simply because you do not mess with haters. You don't give your time or energy to people who you know are snakes. And see, some people might think it's harsh to call someone a snake or say they're a vulture or you're being too critical. Some people have made their entire personality talking about other people. Some people have made their entire personalities putting down other people and trying to bring them down. Some people have made their entire personalities based on being a backstabber. So it is not too much to recognize when someone is that and to be selective about being around them. See, these people say you're antisocial or socially awkward. No, you just don't entertain haters. When you know what someone is about, especially when they have a negative demeanor, when they're always bitter and miserable, not because something happened, but because they're a hater. See, there are some women, some people in general, but especially jealous, envious women, when they can't stand seeing other women happy, they get very nasty. They start trying to do all these little tricks and sabotaging tactics to get another woman to feel bad because they feel bad about themselves. And when you recognize those kind of things, you get very selective about the kind of people you want to deal with. And if that makes you out to be socially awkward, you're okay with that. The women who have the highest standards, who are selective and not desperate, are often called socially awkward. It's because if you have to be around certain people, be it for work, be it for school, or you're still in that phase where you're trying to make your family feel good by being around certain people. As you get older, you don't do things like that. But some of us, no judgment, I understand. You want to make Mima and Auntie and them feel good, so you still come around your toxic cousins and them. It's okay. I'm not judging you for that. But when you do those kind of things, see, people will recognize and they'll say, "Oh, you're being socially awkward. You're socially awkward. You're antisocial." No, you just don't entertain haters. And the more you try to force those interactions, the more it's going to make your spirit feel uneasy. That's the reason why I don't force interactions that don't come natural. Now, if it's something you want to obtain, if it's something you need to do for business, that's different because there's a goal attached to it. So there's going to be times where, you might be around certain people or talking to certain people. You don't necessarily care for their personality or their way, but they can put you on to different business ventures or different ideas. So you just put on for the moment. But in your everyday life, being fake is not what you like to do. And because of it, some people call you socially awkward or antisocial, but you just don't entertain snakes. You don't entertain haters. And see, people who say that your vibe is off, normally it's because theirs is off. See, people who try to pick apart those they call socially awkward, it's because they're not able to get you vulnerable enough to take advantage of you. Normally, it's because they're not able to get you vulnerable enough to end up getting you caught up in some kind of drama. You see, those women, those of us who have been called antisocial or socially awkward, it irritates haters because they're not easily able to get us caught up in drama. See, a person who is deemed as antisocial or socially awkward, but you're just protecting your energy from haters, they get irritated and triggered by you because it's hard to get you caught up in drama. It's hard to get you swept up in their chaos, and they don't like it. It's because you know how to read the room, you read the vibes, and you look at the patterns and the energy of the people. You see, people who say you're being overly critical or socially awkward by doing that, those people do not value themselves, not to the extent that they want to protect their energy, protect their spirit, protect their mind. You see, women who are often deemed as socially awkward or antisocial, but they're just protecting their energy from haters, they're normally seen as a little bit judgmental or critical simply because you're not willing to be vulnerable with everybody. It's not wise for man or woman to be vulnerable with everyone. So these people say you're antisocial or socially awkward. No, you just don't give your energy to haters. You don't give your energy to people who you feel and you can tell don't like you, have some kind of issue with you, or they're trying to use you for some kind of games. And believe it or not, you have some people, some women, when they're jealous and envious of other women, they will try to befriend other women so they can use them as their entertainment. So they can use them as the, how can I say it? You are the common denominator amongst the hyenas. So when they need a good laugh or they need someone to talk about or they're trying to somehow bring you down because they're jealous, you'll be the target for that because you're not like them. Authentic people and fake people, people who are a little bit messy, typically clash. And see, when you clash with someone who is messy and trying to get you vulnerable and you're not giving them that, that's when they scream antisocial and awkward and she's so standoffish. These people say you're antisocial, you're socially awkward. No, you just don't give your energy to haters. You don't have time to give your energy to haters. And you see, with my birthday having just passed and entering the 40 club, even in my 30s, I realized that I'm too old to entertain fake relationships. I'm too old and too just not amping myself up, but I believe that by the grace of God, a little bit too wise to entertain relationships with people who really don't care for me, or to entertain people who are very nasty and toxic toward other people. And see, that's another thing that women who actually value their time, value their energy, and don't entertain haters, we look at not just how you treat us, but how do you treat other people? See, these people call you antisocial or socially awkward, but no, you just don't entertain haters. And it's not just hating on you, it can be on other people. No woman with class and true decorum and boundaries wants to be friends or deal with people who mistreat other people, which means you might not be nasty to me, but if you're always putting down another woman, if you're always talking about her, if you're always trying to make her feel weird in your presence, trying to intimidate, you're trying to be a bully, I don't want to mess with you. And you shouldn't want to have friends like that either. If you're okay with them, but they're not okay with anybody else, they're a bully, no. So it's not that you're antisocial or socially awkward, you just don't entertain haters. And haters and jealous people don't like that. I heard a saying that says you are the sum total of the people you hang with, meaning you might not have the same personality as the hater, as the jealous, envious bully, but if you associate with those kind of people, people are going to automatically assume you are the same way. And that's why you have to be selective on who you're dealing with. It's not that you care so much about what people think about you, but let's be real. Women with true class, true decorum, women who really value who they are and their image as a woman, you don't want to be associated with hyenas. You don't want to be associated with haters and those who are always downing and hurting other people. So these people say you're socially awkward or antisocial. No, you just don't entertain haters. You don't entertain toxic people. I can't stand to see other people mistreating other people just because. I'm not saying if something happened and you two are going back and forth, that's an exchange of energy, okay? But a person who makes it their lifestyle, their personality of being a hater, of being toxic, of just being mean to other people, that is not something that grown women do. We don't deal with mean girls and bully energy, be it man or woman. So these people say you're socially awkward or antisocial. No, you just don't entertain haters and toxic people. You're not a bully. You're not mean. You don't have any issues with people, and you're not trying to befriend people just so you can sabotage them and bring them down. So you want to deal with people who do the same. And that's not too much to ask. These people say you are antisocial, socially awkward, your energy is off. No, you just don't entertain haters. And see, what they don't realize is that a lot of women who used to be okay dealing with the bullies, dealing with the envious, toxic people, the gossips, it took a moment for you to realize that those kind of things are not normal. You see, people who are called socially awkward, antisocial, but you just don't entertain haters, it's because most people, not all people, but many people, especially women, the only language they know is gossip and misery. The only language they know is sarcasm and putting down other people. And see, because you are a woman of intellect, a woman of wisdom, and a woman just with common decency, you understand that there are other things to talk about than just other people. There are other things to do and to entertain, and that there are a lot of positive things you could focus on than just other people. And when people notice that about you, they'll say you're antisocial simply because you don't want to waste your time and energy hating on the next person. And that's why a lot of women, especially classy women, especially more feminine women, women who are just not mean-spirited, they don't have a lot of friends oftentimes. It's because the women that are normally in the biggest groups, and this is just a little sidebar from the main topic, this is not all women, but normally when you see big female groups, these, big groups of women, they share one common interest, putting down other women. And you're not like that. So these people say you're antisocial or socially awkward. No, you just don't entertain haters and toxic people. And you're perfectly fine being by yourself for a season until your tribe finds you. You don't care if people call you socially awkward. You don't care if people say you're antisocial. You're protecting your energy, your mind, your spirit from haters. And that's their problem if they think you're antisocial. Like and subscribe to the channel and share this content. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. If you watch this video till the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comment section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.